ladies, let's talk about something crucial. Don't lose yourself in love. Yes, I'm talking to you. It's easy to get caught up in the passion, the butterflies, the late night conversations, and everything in between. But remember, love is not meant to erase who you are. It should elevate you. So, if you're feeling like you've become someone else, it's time to take a step back and reconnect with the amazing person you are. Let's dive in, shall we? Your identity comes first, always. In a world where we're constantly told how to look, how to behave, how to act, and how to love, we often forget that the most important thing is staying true to who we are. But why does that seem so difficult? Why do we often feel the need to bend, to break, to become someone else, to fit into someone else's life or expectation? It's because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to others. How they see us, how they need us, how much they love us. But that's a lie. Your value is not defined by anyone else's perception of you. It is defined by you and you alone. Let me tell you something powerful. You are enough, just as you are. The person you are at this very moment, with all your quirks, imperfections, dreams, and scars, you are enough. Don't let anyone, not even love itself, make you forget that. Too often, when we fall in love, we find ourselves wanting to please the other person so much that we forget about our own needs, our own boundaries, and our own happiness. We lose sight of our own identity, as if loving someone means erasing everything about ourselves to fit into their world. You think about it, right? Think about how many times you've changed the way you speak, dress, or even think just to please someone else. Maybe you stayed silent when you should have spoken up. Maybe you've given up your dreams because someone else's dreams seemed more important. Maybe you've allowed your passions to fade in the background, thinking, this is what love looks like. I'm supposed to sacrifice for them. And while it's important to make compromises in any relationship, never let those compromises take away the essence of who you are. Take a moment and think about it. When you were younger, what did you love to do? What were you passionate about? What made you feel alive? Maybe it was dancing, writing, painting, or helping others. But somewhere along the way, life happened. You grew up, started getting into relationships, and somewhere along that journey, you started giving up parts of yourself. You gave up your Saturday mornings spent on your passion because you thought your partner needed your time more. You stopped speaking your mind because you thought it might upset the balance of the relationship. But what happened? You lost yourself in the process. You didn't just lose time. You lost your soul's spark, the fire that makes you uniquely you. Now let me ask you this. When did we get so comfortable losing ourselves for the sake of love? When did we start thinking that love is about disappearing into someone else's world and losing our own? Love should be about growing together, not about suffocating each other's individual flames. The right relationship should set you free, not bind you in invisible chains. It should help you grow into the best version of yourself, not drain your energy and make you forget what lights you up. Think about those moments when you're truly happy, when you're doing something you love, when you're in your element. Maybe you're giving a presentation at work and you feel on top of the world because you're showing the world who you really are. Or maybe it's when you're painting and every brushstroke feels like an expression of your soul. It's when you're running in the park and you can feel the wind against your face, and for that split second, it's just you and the universe. Those moments, my friends, are when you're the closest to your true self. You don't have to become someone else to love or to be loved. The love that is meant for you will come when you are authentically yourself. Well, here's the thing. We often fear that if we stay true to ourselves, we'll lose love. We fear rejection. We fear that if we express who we really are, others might not accept us. But let me tell you something that will shift your perspective forever. True love starts with loving yourself first. If you cannot love yourself and honor your own identity, how can you expect anyone else to? If you're constantly pretending, constantly adjusting to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be, you will always feel incomplete. You will feel empty because deep down, you're betraying the very essence of your being. Look, I know it's easier said than done. There are pressures all around us to conform, to fit in, to live up to expectations. But you are stronger than those pressures. Your truth is your power. Embrace it. Own it. Even if it feels like the world is telling you otherwise. Be bold enough to hold on to your authentic self. And guess what? The right people, the ones who are meant for you, will see you, the real you, and love you even more for it. You don't have to shrink yourself for someone to love you. It's time to stand tall and say, I am enough. I am beautiful. I am worthy of love, respect, and the life I dream of. When you do that, you'll attract people who honor you for who you truly are, not for the version of you that you pretended to be. So ladies, let's promise ourselves this. We will never lose ourselves in love. We will never give up our dreams, our passions, our voices, or identities for the sake of a relationship. We will love with all our hearts, but we will never forget that we are our first love. We are our own source of strength. And as long as we remain true to ourselves, love will find us in the most beautiful way possible. You are not responsible for their happiness. I want you to let that sink in. You are not responsible for their happiness. Say it to yourself. I am not responsible for their happiness. And I know it sounds strange. You might be sitting there thinking, but wait, if I love them, isn't it my job to make them happy? Let me tell you, that's the most dangerous myth you can ever believe in a relationship. When we fall in love, we often believe that we should give until there's nothing left of us. We start thinking that if we are not constantly making the other person happy, then we're failing. But I need you to hear me when I say this. It's not your job to make anyone happy. It's not your responsibility to carry someone else's joy on your shoulders. You were not born to be someone's emotional support system, to fix their brokenness or to take on their burdens. Think about it for a moment. How many of us have stayed in relationships where we put someone else's happiness above our own? How many times have we stayed up late, exhausted and drained, trying to solve problems that weren't ours to solve? How many times have we tried to fix someone, believing that by doing so, we would finally see them happy and fulfilled? And in doing so, we lost pieces of ourselves. We lost our joy, we lost our energy, we lost our purpose. But here's the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give someone else everything you have if you don't first give yourself what you need. You cannot be the source of someone's happiness if you don't have your own happiness to give. Happiness is not something that can be handed to another person. It's something that each individual must cultivate within themselves. Think about it. Have you ever tried to fix someone who didn't want to be fixed? Have you ever tried to make someone happy when they weren't ready to be happy themselves? It's an endless cycle of disappointment and frustration. I want to take you back to a time when you were younger. Think about that version of yourself before you got caught up in relationships, responsibilities, and external pressures. Do you remember when you were just happy for the sake of being happy? When you didn't need anyone else to feel joy? You can't wait for someone else to bring you happiness. It's your birthright to be happy every single day, no matter who is or isn't in your life. You were born complete. You don't need anyone to validate your worth. You don't need anyone to make you feel like you matter. Look at it from a different perspective. Let's say you're in a relationship with someone and they're upset or going through a tough time. You want to help, you want to comfort them, you want to be the one to fix things. And that's okay to feel. But here's where we make the mistake. We start believing that if they're upset, it's our job to make them happy again. We internalize their sadness and feel like it's our fault when we can't change it. But you cannot control someone else's emotions. You can be there for them, you can offer support, you can love them through their pain, but their happiness is theirs to find. It's not something that can be fixed by anything you do. And in those moments, It's crucial to remind yourself that you have no control over anyone else's joy. Let me ask you, what happens when we put the burden of someone else's happiness on our shoulders? We lose ourselves, don't we? We become so consumed with trying to fix the other person's problems that we neglect our own needs. We stop taking care of ourselves, our mental health, our emotional well-being, because we're so focused on someone else's journey. And here's the thing. You cannot be your best self in a relationship if you're constantly pouring all your energy into making someone else happy. You have to be whole first. You have to be in a place of peace and happiness yourself before you can even begin to offer support to anyone else. Imagine this. You're in a relationship where you've given so much of yourself, but the other person is still unhappy. No matter what you do, it's never enough. You try harder, you give more, you make more sacrifices, and yet their sadness never goes away. At some point, you have to realize that no matter how much you love them, you cannot be the solution to their unhappiness. Their happiness is in their hands, not yours. You can't keep sacrificing yourself and your well-being in an attempt to make them happy. You don't have to take on their pain, their burden, their emotional struggles. It's exhausting and it's unhealthy. Let's think like a real-life example. Have you ever been in a situation where you were in a relationship with someone who was constantly upset, but no matter what you did, their mood didn't improve? You tried everything, getting them gifts, planning nice dates, listening to their problems, but nothing worked. They remained unhappy. How did you feel? Exhausted, empty, drained. That's because deep down you knew that their happiness wasn't something you could give them. You were trying to fix something that only they could fix. It's time to stop being the person who constantly carries everyone else's emotions. Let them carry their own joy. Let them figure out their own happiness. You're not their therapist. You are not their savior. You're a partner, a friend, a companion, but not their emotional caretaker. You deserve to have a life that's not weighed down by the unhappiness of others. Remember, you can love someone deeply, support them through hard times, and be there for them in ways that help them heal, but you are not responsible for their joy. They have to find that themselves, just like you have to find your own. When you start accepting that their happiness is their responsibility, you'll find yourself feeling lighter, freer, and more connected to the joy you deserve. Independence is a beautiful thing. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and think about the last time you truly felt independent. When you didn't rely on anyone else for validation, for approval, or for your sense of purpose. Think about how that felt. How freeing it was to know that your happiness, your direction, your life, and your future were in your own hands. Can you remember that feeling? It's like a burst of freedom in your chest. A deep breath you didn't realize you were holding in. Independence isn't just a state of being. It's a way of living, breathing, and existing. And it's one of the most empowering things you can ever experience in life. So many of us have been taught that to be loved, we have to give up a part of ourselves. We've been told that in order to be in a relationship, we need to rely on someone else, to lean on them, to merge our lives with theirs. And while there's nothing wrong with love, the reality is that independence should never be sacrificed in the name of affection. Independence is not about being alone or pushing people away. It's about knowing that you don't need anyone to define who you are or where you're going. Imagine, just for a second, a woman who wakes up every morning with a sense of purpose, who knows that her dreams and her goals are hers to pursue, and that no one else has the power to shape her future. She's independent in the truest sense of the word. Not because she's alone, but because she's self-sufficient. She doesn't need someone else's approval to feel validated. She doesn't need a relationship to give her meaning. She wakes up every day knowing that she's in charge of her own happiness. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Doesn't that sound like freedom? I know what you're thinking, because we've all been there. Society sometimes tells us that if you're independent, you're selfish. It makes you think that if you don't rely on others, there's something wrong with you, like you're somehow denying the beauty of connection and closeness. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Independence doesn't mean shutting people out. It means standing on your own 2 feet, knowing your worth, and walking through the world as a strong, capable, and empowered individual. And when you walk through the world like that, guess what happens? You start attracting the right people. You start drawing in relationships that support you rather than ones that drain you. People start respecting you, not because you need them, but because you choose them, because you know exactly who you are without them. Let me tell you a little story. I want you to think about a time when you've had to handle something on your own, without help from anyone else. Maybe it was a job opportunity, a challenge you faced, or a life decision that no one could make for you. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, like the weight of the world was on your shoulders. But as you started to handle it, piece by piece, you realized something. You could do it. You didn't need someone else to figure it out for you. You didn't need someone else to tell you how to succeed. You had the power, the drive, and the strength to tackle it yourself. And do you know what that is? That's independence. That's the feeling of being self-reliant and owning your own success. Now think about the power of that. How many times have we given up on our dreams because we felt like we didn't have support? How many times have we been afraid to take that leap thinking that we needed someone's approval or help to move forward? Independence teaches us that we don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect person to validate our worth. We can create our own opportunities. We can make our own way. The world is full of possibilities, and we are the ones with the power to seize them. But it's not just about achieving big things, is it? It's about the little things too. Think about the daily moments when you assert your independence. Maybe it's deciding to go out alone for the first time and feeling that rush of confidence as you step into the world on your own. Or maybe it's choosing to spend time with yourself, to enjoy your own company, to feed your soul with things that make you happy. Independence is in every small choice, in every action you take, that reminds you that you are whole on your own. Here's another thought. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you lost yourself? You gave so much of yourself, so much of your energy to the other person that you forgot who you were before the relationship. And then when things didn't work out, you were left wondering, who am I without them? That's when independence becomes a necessity. When you're emotionally independent, you're not giving away pieces of yourself. You're not relying on someone else to give you meaning. You're not waiting for someone to come and complete you, because you know you were never incomplete to begin with. And let's not forget the strength that independence brings. The strength to stand up for yourself. The strength to say no when you need to. The strength to chase your dreams without fear. Independence is not about isolation or detachment. It's about being strong enough to know when to rely on others, but equally strong enough to know when you can stand on your own. Independence is the foundation of self-love. When you're independent, you learn to love yourself in ways that you never thought possible. You're not looking for validation in the eyes of someone else. You're giving yourself the validation that you need. So I ask you, where in your life can you be more independent? Where can you step into your power and take control of your own destiny? Because my friends, independence is a beautiful thing, and once you experience it, nothing else will compare. You will walk through this life knowing that you are capable, strong, and free. You will never again rely on anyone else to make you feel whole, because you already are. You are the creator of your own happiness, and when you understand that, you'll begin to see the world in a whole new light. Set boundaries like a queen. I want you to truly understand the power of this statement. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about protecting your peace, your time, and your mental well-being. When you set boundaries like a queen, you command respect, not through force, but through the strength of your presence and the clarity of your need. It's the quiet power that comes from knowing who you are, what you will accept, and what you absolutely will not tolerate. Think about it for a second. When you look at a queen, what do you see? She isn't someone who allows anyone to walk all over her. She isn't someone who bows to the whims of others or sacrifices her well-being to please anyone. She rules with grace and confidence. She knows her worth, and that self-respect translates into how she demands others to treat her. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are bridges that ensure respect is maintained while creating the space for healthy relationships. Now, let me take you to a time when you felt overwhelmed, when people were demanding your time, your energy, your attention, and you gave it all away even when you were running on empty. How did that feel? It probably felt like your soul was being drained, right? Because here's the truth. When you don't set boundaries, you end up depleting yourself in an attempt to make others happy, and eventually you lose your sense of self. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot continue to give pieces of yourself to others when you don't even have enough for yourself. Imagine for a moment, though, that you were a queen in your own life. Picture the strength in your posture, the confidence in your voice, the unwavering stance as you say, "This is what I need. This is what I am willing to accept. And this is what I won't tolerate." Imagine the clarity with which you communicate your boundaries and the peace you would have when you know that you're not sacrificing your well-being for anyone or anything. That's the power of setting boundaries like a queen. You don't have to yell, you don't have to argue, you don't have to justify yourself. You simply stand firm in your truth. Now, think about how you've been taught to be nice and accommodating. Society has ingrained in us the idea that we should always be polite, always be kind, always put others before ourselves. We've been conditioned to say yes to everything and everyone, even when we know it's not in our best interest. But I need you to hear this. Being kind does not mean being a doormat. You don't have to say yes to everything to be a good person. You don't have to say yes to every favor, every request, every invitation, just to keep the peace. Being kind to yourself is the first step towards setting boundaries. It's the recognition that your time, your energy, and your mental space are sacred. And if you don't protect them, no one else will. Think about your work life, for example. How many times have you said yes to a project, a meeting, or a deadline, even though you were already overwhelmed? You felt pressured to meet expectations, even at the cost of your own peace. But imagine if you had said, "No, this isn't something I can take on right now. I need to focus on what's already on my plate." When you set boundaries at work, you protect not just your time, but also the quality of the work you deliver. You don't become overwhelmed or burnt out. You don't lose yourself in the chaos. Instead, you show up fully with focus and clarity because you've prioritized your own needs first. It's not just work though, it's relationships too. How many times have you given in to people who were draining, demanding, or disrespectful? How many times have you allowed someone to cross your boundaries, all in the name of love or friendship? You said yes when you didn't want to. You made excuses for their behavior. You bent over backward to make things work. And yet, you ended up feeling unappreciated. Setting boundaries is a sign of self-respect. It is not selfish to protect your peace. It is essential to maintaining your mental and emotional health. You can love someone deeply, but that doesn't mean you have to tolerate their disrespect or allow them to overstep their boundaries with you. Now, imagine a situation where you are in a relationship, whether it's with a partner, a friend, or even a family member, and they keep asking things of you that make you uncomfortable. They're demanding your time, your attention, and your emotional energy, but you feel depleted. When you don't set boundaries, you let others dictate the terms of your relationship. But when you do set boundaries like a queen, you establish the terms of how you will be treated, how you want to be loved, and how you expect to be respected. And this doesn't come from a place of anger or frustration. It comes from a place of deep love for yourself. Think of a queen who sits in her throne room, calm, composed, and powerful. She is not angry, but she is firm. She knows what she will accept and what she will not. She doesn't have to explain herself because her boundaries speak for her. And this is how you should be in your own life. Calm, composed, and confident in the knowledge that you are worthy of respect, that your time and energy are valuable, and that anyone who truly values you will honor your boundaries. This is not a sign of weakness, this is a sign of strength. It's time to stop apologizing for setting boundaries. It's time to stop feeling guilty for protecting your energy. A queen never feels guilty for protecting her kingdom. Your kingdom is your life, your soul, and your peace of mind. If you don't protect it, no one else will. Set boundaries like a queen, not because you're trying to control others, but because you are protecting your own sense of self, your happiness, and your well-being. When you set boundaries, you are showing the world that you are worthy of love, respect, and care, and anyone who truly values you will rise to meet you at that level. Don't get lost in their world. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful lessons you will ever learn in life. Think about it. How often do we get so wrapped up in someone else's world, their expectations, their problems, that we lose sight of our own identity, our own desires, and our own dreams? We get so absorbed in their world that we forget about ours. And the truth is, the moment you lose yourself in someone else's life is the moment you stop living for yourself. We've all been there. Think about a relationship where you gave everything, your time, your attention, your energy to someone else, only to realize that somewhere along the way you lost touch with who you were. Maybe it was a partner who had a different vision for the future, or a friend who needed constant validation, or even a family member who wanted you to live by their rules. And what happened? Slowly you started to change. You became less of yourself and more of who they wanted you to be. You started to bend, to compromise, to please. And somewhere in that process, you disappeared. The thing is, when you're so focused on someone else's world, you begin to lose the most important connection you have, the connection to yourself. It's like standing in the middle of a crowd of voices, trying to listen to everyone around you, but you can't hear your own inner voice anymore. When you lose yourself in their world, you stop being true to your own heart and soul. You forget what you want, what makes you happy, and what truly excites you. I want you to think about your life for a moment. Your dreams, your passions, your goals. What are they? Are they still the same as they were before you got caught up in someone else's world? Or have they been pushed aside to make room for someone else's needs and desires? Maybe it's a job that you don't really love, but you stuck with it because it was what they expected. Maybe it's a relationship that drained you, but you stayed because you didn't want to disappoint. Maybe it's a lifestyle that isn't yours, but you've been living it because you thought it was what you were supposed to do. You are not here to live someone else's life. You are here to live yours. Take, for example, the journey of an artist. Let's say this artist has always dreamed of painting, creating masterpieces that speak to the soul. But then, they get into a relationship with someone who doesn't understand their vision. The partner doesn't see the value in the art. And so the artist starts to suppress their passion, maybe even abandon it altogether. The relationship, the partner's world takes center stage, and the artist's dreams fade into the background. This is what happens when you lose yourself in someone else's world. You stop creating your own story. Or think about someone in a family dynamic. Maybe you grew up with expectations placed on you, and as you got older, you started to live according to those expectations. You became the perfect child, the perfect sibling, the perfect student, constantly striving to make everyone else proud. But along the way, you stopped asking yourself, what do I really want? When you live for others, you forget to live for yourself. You forget that your own happiness is just as important as everyone else's. But let me tell you something. Your life, your future, your happiness, those are your responsibilities. They don't belong to anyone else. And you don't owe anyone the privilege of living in their world at the expense of your own. It's okay to prioritize yourself. It's okay to say, this is my time, my path, my dream. You don't have to lose yourself in someone else's world to make them happy, to feel accepted, or to be loved. Let's talk about love for a moment. So many people get caught up in this idea that to be loved, to be in a relationship, they have to mold themselves into someone else. They compromise who they are, how they think, how they feel, what they believe, in order to fit into the expectations of their partner. But true love doesn't require you to lose yourself. True love comes when you are fully, unapologetically yourself. It's not about molding into someone else's world. It's about creating a space where both of you can be the best versions of yourselves together. Do you know what happens when you stop getting lost in someone else's world? You start living on your own terms. You rediscover your passions, your desires, and your dreams. You begin to make decisions that are aligned with your soul's purpose, not just what someone else thinks is best for you. It's like waking up from a long slumber. You feel alive again. You're connected to yourself in a way that you never thought possible. You might be thinking, but if I stop giving so much to them, won't they think I don't care? No. Caring for yourself doesn't mean you care any less about others. It simply means you care about yourself enough to not lose yourself in the process. You can love people without giving up your identity. You can be there for others without losing sight of your own needs and desires. You don't have to live their life. You can live your own and still share your love and energy in a way that doesn't drain you. Life is short, my friend. Don't waste it trying to live for someone else. You are the author of your own story. You are the one who gets to decide what comes next. And when you stop getting lost in their world, you finally allow yourself to create the life you've always dreamed of. So stop apologizing for taking care of yourself. Stop shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. It's time to reclaim your world. Keep your circle of friends strong. I can't stress enough how powerful this is in life. The people you surround yourself with have the ability to shape the person you become. They influence how you think, how you feel, and how you move through the world. Your friends are not just people you hang out with. They are your mirrors, your anchors, your motivators. And at times, your greatest challenge. And let me tell you, it's not just about the quantity of your friends. It's about the quality. So many people today are focused on the idea of networking, collecting as many people as possible in their lives, thinking that the more friends they have, the better. But real connection, deep, meaningful relationships go beyond just a surface level friendship. You need a circle that elevates you, that pushes you, that makes you want to become a better version of yourself. And you have to be intentional about who gets that space in your life. Think about it. Who are the people who have your back no matter what? When you're struggling, when you're falling, when life seems impossible, who are the ones who are there to pick you up? Those are the ones who truly matter. Not the ones who only show up when it's convenient or when it's a celebration. True friendship isn't about being there only when things are good. It's about standing strong through the tough times too. Let's talk about the power of a real friendship. Have you ever had that one friend who just gets you? The one who knows exactly when to make you laugh, when to listen, and when to call you out on your nonsense. That's the kind of friendship that builds you. And in this world where we're constantly surrounded by distractions and superficial connections, these deep, real friendships are more important than ever. These are the people who help you become more of yourself, who inspire you, who challenge you to think bigger and dream bigger. They are the ones who hold up a mirror and say, I see greatness in you, and I won't let you settle for less. But you know what? The most difficult part of keeping a strong circle of friends is learning to protect it. You need to protect the people who are good for your soul, who fill you with positive energy, and who lift you up. You also need to let go of those who drain you, who bring toxicity into your life, and who cause you to question your own worth. And I know that's hard. Letting go of people you've invested time and energy in can feel like a loss. But let me tell you, it's not a loss. It's an act of self-love. Letting go of toxic people creates space for the ones who will help you thrive, who will push you to your fullest potential. Take a moment to think about the energy of the people around you. Are they the kind of people who inspire you to reach for your dreams? Or do they hold you back with their negativity and small thinking? Your circle should be filled with people who encourage your growth, not stifle it. You don't want people who are afraid of your success. You don't want people who try to keep you in a box because they're too afraid to let you soar. And when you make that change, when you step away from those who hold you down and keep close those who lift you up, your life will begin to shift. I want you to think about a time in your life when you were surrounded by the right people. I bet you felt invincible, didn't you? You could take on the world. Now imagine if you surrounded yourself with that same kind of energy every single day. What could you accomplish? The truth is, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Are they the kind of people who bring out the best in you, or are they the ones who drain you, who criticize you, who make you feel like you're not enough? Here's the thing. Not everyone is meant to be in your inner circle. It's okay to have acquaintances, people who come in and out of your life, but the people who are truly close to you need to be the ones who bring you peace, who help you grow, who cheer you on in every victory, no matter how small. These are the people who believe in your vision, even when you're not sure about it yourself. Let's take a look at the power of friendship in everyday life. Think about a career. You're trying to build something for yourself. You're grinding every day, putting in the work, pushing yourself to be better. Now imagine you're surrounded by friends who are also pushing themselves, who are ambitious, who are constantly evolving. The energy in that group would be electric, wouldn't it? You'd keep each other motivated, you'd celebrate each other's wins, and you'd pick each other up when you fall. That's the kind of circle that drives success. And then think about the opposite. Maybe you've been around people who are comfortable in their stagnation, who aren't growing, who are okay with just getting by. Being around them can start to wear you down. You'll start to feel like maybe I should just settle too. That's what happens when you let negative influences take up space in your life. So protect your circle. Choose wisely. The people you choose to surround yourself with will either propel you to greatness or hold you back. It's up to you to make that decision. But always remember this. True friends don't compete with you. They celebrate you. They help you rise, they lift you higher, and they walk with you through the hard times. Your circle of friends should be a place where you feel seen, heard, and valued. They should challenge you to be the best version of yourself, not the version that fits into someone else's idea of what you should be. And when you keep your circle strong, you'll find that everything in your life starts to align. You'll feel more alive, more inspired, and more unstoppable than ever before. You've heard it before. Grow together, not apart. It's a simple phrase, but it carries so much weight, doesn't it? It's a reminder that the most beautiful relationships, whether friendships, partnerships, or even family bonds, are built on mutual growth. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that growth is a solo mission, that the way to succeed, the way to thrive, is to go it alone. But let me tell you something important. Growth isn't just about your individual journey. It's about the people who walk beside you, pushing you, challenging you, and helping you rise as they rise too. Growth, real growth, is something that's meant to be shared. Think about the people you've surrounded yourself with, your closest friends, your family, your team, your partner. Do they push you to be better? Do they celebrate your victories, or do they make you feel like you're taking something from them when you succeed? I'll tell you this, when you grow together, there's no competition. There's only a shared sense of pride, a shared vision of success, and a mutual investment in each other's dreams. Now, let's break this down for a moment. What does it really mean to grow together? It's about having the kind of relationship where you're both evolving, learning, and pushing each other to be the best versions of yourselves. And this doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. It happens in all kinds of bonds, whether it's with your friends, co-workers, or family members. You cannot expect to grow alone while the people around you stay stagnant. Growth means lifting others as you rise, encouraging them, showing up for them, and allowing them to do the same for you. So let's take a look at friendship for a moment. Think about the friends who are constantly evolving, who are always working on themselves, learning, improving, striving for better. You know the type I'm talking about. These are the people who, when you spend time with them, make you feel inspired. You don't leave a conversation feeling drained. No. You leave feeling energized. They make you want to be better, do better, and live better. That's what it means to grow together. It's like having a built-in support system, one that encourages you to rise to the occasion and reminds you that you're not alone in this journey. You're part of a tribe of people who are all trying to level up, and that energy is contagious. But it's also about being honest enough to acknowledge when you're not growing. When you find yourself in a relationship, whether personal or professional, where you feel like you're plateauing, that's a wake-up call. It's a sign that something needs to change. You see, growth is not a one-way street. If you're the only one putting in the work to get better, to be more, to elevate your life, then the relationship becomes a one-sided endeavor. And trust me, it'll start to feel like you're dragging that person along instead of walking beside them. Growth is a two-way street. You need someone who challenges you, someone who calls you out when you're not stepping up, someone who refuses to let you settle for mediocrity. Now think about your partner, whether in life or business. Do they inspire you to reach for your goals, to dream bigger, to push beyond your limits? Or do they hold you back, questioning your every move, causing you to second guess yourself? That's not growth together. That's stagnation. A true partnership is built on shared ambition, shared goals, and shared dreams. When both people in a relationship are pulling in the same direction, the energy is unstoppable. It's like being on the same wavelength, a constant exchange of energy and ideas, encouraging each other to keep moving forward. Let me give you an example of how this works in real life. Think about a business partnership. Imagine two people starting a business together. Both have their strengths, their passions, their vision for the future. But instead of one person dominating and pushing their way through, they choose to work together. They encourage each other to reach new heights. When one faces a setback, the other is there to offer support, a fresh perspective, and a way to get back on track that's growing together. It's about sharing the wins, but also sharing the losses. It's about being there when things get tough, not just when they're easy. When you share both the good and the bad, it builds a foundation of trust, respect, and mutual growth. But sometimes it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you're better off going it alone. You see, the journey of self-improvement can feel isolating. You might find yourself comparing your progress to others, thinking that their success is somehow a reflection of your shortcomings. That's when you start to grow apart, when you think you're on your own journey, separate from everyone else. But here's the thing, growth is not a competition. It's not about winning at the expense of others. It's about lifting each other up so that everyone wins. When you're truly growing together, you understand that their success doesn't take away from yours. It amplifies it. There's room for everyone to succeed. And when you start looking at growth that way, you'll start to attract people who are in alignment with your vision. People who are not just going to watch you rise, but who are going to rise with you. There's a saying that I love. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now take a moment and think about that. Are the people around you pushing you to grow? Are they challenging you to think bigger, dream bolder, and reach higher? Or are they pulling you down, keeping you small, or questioning your potential? When you surround yourself with people who are committed to growing together, it creates an environment where everyone thrives. And when that happens, magic unfolds. Opportunities arise, doors open, and the world feels like a place where anything is possible. So don't settle for relationships that make you feel small, stagnant, or uninspired. You deserve to be surrounded by people who make you feel like you can conquer the world. People who are constantly learning, constantly evolving, and constantly striving for better. If you find yourself in a relationship, a friendship, or a partnership where you feel like you're growing apart, take a step back, reevaluate. Growth is meant to be shared, not isolated. If you're not growing together, then you're not truly growing. Don't settle for less than you deserve. It's a phrase you hear often, but how many of us actually take it to heart? How many of us truly believe that we deserve the best, and yet we find ourselves compromising? settling for less than we know we should have. We often make excuses, telling ourselves that it's better to have something than nothing. But let me tell you something. When you settle for less, you're telling yourself that you're not worthy of the best. And that's a lie. Think about it. How many times have you stayed in situations, whether relationships, jobs, or even friendships, because you didn't believe you deserved more? You get comfortable, right? Things start to feel familiar even though they're not fulfilling. You tell yourself it's better than nothing, but trust me, better than nothing is never enough. You are worth more than just something to pass the time. Something that's just okay. You are worth everything that makes your soul come alive. Don't ever forget that. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're in a relationship where you're constantly giving, constantly loving, constantly putting the other person's needs before your own. You wait for them to appreciate you, to value you, to recognize your worth. But they never do. They take you for granted. They never give back. They make you feel invisible. And yet you stay. Why? Because deep down you've convinced yourself that this is all you're worth. You start to believe that love should be this way, that the pain is just a part of the process, and you start to expect less for yourself. But here's the truth. You are not a second choice. You are not a backup plan. You are not someone who should settle for anything less than respect, love, and equal effort. You deserve to be with someone who sees your value from day one, who appreciates you, who wants to build with you, not just take from you. If you're giving all of yourself, but you're not receiving the same in return, you're settling. And that, my friends, is a betrayal to yourself. Never make the mistake of thinking that anyone, anything, or any situation is worth more than your own self-worth. Let me give you another example. How many of you have ever taken a job simply because you needed the money? Or because it was good enough? You know, the kind of job that makes you dread waking up in the morning. The kind where you feel like you're just clocking in and out. Not truly living, just surviving. But you stay, don't you? Because you tell yourself that at least it's stable. At least it's paying the bills. But let me tell you something. Stability at the cost of your passion and your happiness is not stability. It's a trap. You are capable of so much more. You are capable of finding a job that lights you up, that challenges you, that pushes you to grow. And yes, it may take time. Yes, it may require you to step outside your comfort zone. But you deserve to wake up every morning, excited about what you do, not burdened by the weight of a job that drains you. It's easy to get stuck in the mindset of settling because you don't believe the best is coming. But what if it is? What if the reason you haven't found the right relationship or the right job or the right opportunity is because you've been settling for what's easy, for what's comfortable, for what's safe? What if the universe is waiting for you to have the courage to demand more from yourself and from life? We all have dreams, goals, desires that we sometimes push aside. We tell ourselves that they're too big, too far-fetched, too impossible. We think maybe I'm not worthy of it, maybe it's not meant for me. But here's the thing. You can't ever know what you're capable of unless you give yourself the permission to go after what you truly deserve. The moment you stop settling for what's good enough and start believing that you deserve the best, you change everything. You open the door to new possibilities, to new opportunities, to a life that exceeds your wildest expectations. When you stop settling for less than you deserve, you start attracting people, experiences, and opportunities that match your worth. You stop wasting your time with situations that drain you, that hold you back, that keep you stuck in the same place. You begin to move forward. You begin to live the life you were meant to live, and you give others the space to rise alongside you. Your growth becomes inevitable, your success inevitable, your happiness inevitable. Let's talk about value for a moment. What you accept from others is a reflection of how you value yourself. If you allow others to walk all over you, to take advantage of you, to treat you as less than you are sending the message to the universe that you don't think you're worth more. And that is not the case. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of abundance. And until you realize that, you'll keep attracting people and situations that make you feel like you're not enough. But once you start valuing yourself for who you truly are, you'll start attracting everything you've been dreaming of. Here's the truth, and it's something I want you to really hear. You are worth more than you think. Don't let anyone or anything convince you otherwise. Don't settle for less than you deserve. The best is waiting for you, but you have to be brave enough to reach for it. When you step into your worth, when you stop compromising, when you demand more from yourself and from life, that's when the magic happens. That's when the life you've always dreamed of becomes your reality. As I stand before you today, I want you to remember this one truth. You were not born to settle for mediocrity. You were not born to live in the shadows, to hide your light or play small. No, my friends, you were born to shine. You were born to walk boldly in your purpose, to love fiercely, to chase your dreams relentlessly, and to demand the absolute best life has to offer. Never forget that you are worthy of everything you desire, not just because of what you've achieved, but because of who you are. You deserve love, respect, happiness, and success, not because of anything you need to prove, but because you are enough. Don't let anyone or anything convince you that you are not worthy of all that you dream of. Your worth is not defined by the mistakes you've made, the failures you've encountered, or the rejections you've faced. It is defined by the strength, the resilience, and the power that you carry within you. Remember, the world doesn't get to tell you who you are or what you're worth. Only you get to decide that. Life has a way of testing our belief in ourselves, of challenging us to grow beyond our comfort zones. But let me tell you something. You were made to overcome. No challenge is too great, no obstacle too high, and no dream too far out of reach for you. You are the architect of your own destiny, the captain of your own ship. Let me leave you with these powerful words. Don't be afraid to be great. So many of us hold back, thinking we're not ready, thinking we don't have enough, or worse, thinking that the world won't accept us. But greatness is not a matter of waiting for the right time. Greatness is a matter of stepping into who you were always meant to be, no matter the circumstances. Greatness is a decision, a choice you make every single day. And let me tell you this, you were never meant to be ordinary. In fact, the moment you started thinking you couldn't do it, the moment you started doubting your worth, you began living a lie. You are extraordinary. You are more than capable. You are a force to be reckoned with. Don't you dare settle for anything less than your greatness. Don't let fear, doubt, or insecurity rob you of the life you deserve. We say life is a journey, but it's not about the destination. It's about the way you walk through life. Do you walk through life with your head held high, knowing that the universe has your back? Knowing that you are worthy of every blessing that comes your way? Or do you walk with your head down, letting fear and uncertainty hold you back, settling for less than what you know you deserve? You have the power to change your story today. Today is not just another day, it's the first day of the rest of your life. So choose to make it count. Choose to demand more for yourself. Choose to stop accepting less than you deserve. Take control of your life. Own your power. Own your worth. Don't wait for anyone to validate you, because you don't need anyone's approval to live the life you desire. You are more than enough, and the world is waiting for you to rise up and claim what's rightfully yours. As you leave here today, I want you to carry this with you. Don't you dare settle for anything less than extraordinary. The world needs your light. Your greatness is needed in this world. The love, the joy, the creativity, the energy you bring to the table is irreplaceable. You have something unique to offer this world that no one else can. So walk out of here with your head held high, your heart full of fire, and your mind focused on what you truly deserve. You were born for greatness. You were born to rise, to soar, to take over your life, and to live the life you were always meant to live. The world is yours, so go and claim it.